Ify,
Hey.
it's Fashion Week time.
Hello. Yeah, that's time.
So, Ifimo, you actually started off as a model.
Yes.
And then you went into styling.
Yes.
Then you became a fashion designer.
Yes. And a producer.
And a producer.
And all.
And all. How would you say all these other roles that you played within the fashion space influences your creative process and your business as a fashion designer?
I think, to be honest, it's a very huge challenge because compared to our peers internationally, even some locally, I don't have PA to run around. I don't have somebody that I can send to go and do the patterns for me. I do everything on my own. So I got to be super creative. So you end up being like a really mega super creative person. And that when you put that in and you do including your business, that's when you even actually see that how much you're spending and all this, because you don't have a IT person, you don't have somebody who's this, so everything becomes all in one. So you become full one package. Then you can be able to run your business at large scales, because now you got to know how much you're spending, what it's going to cost you, this, the fabric there, whatever, you're traveling. So everything is all from you. So you end up knowing exactly how to run your business from having nothing to something big.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So you can juggle to say, today I don't have 5 cents, so I'm not going to buy fabric, I'm going to revamp my collection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very interesting with the question that you ask, because you end up being a jack of all trades, and that we forcefully have to be like that, because we don't have much. We are not as super international as possible. You know what I mean? Whereby the fashion over the years has been built up, and then now it's like the legacies. They've got legacies. Somebody just come in and just take from the 40s or 50s or whatever. You know what I mean? So we're still very fresh. We're still very new, but we're building our own legacy to catch up with the world. So Rome was not built overnight, but hey, we're getting there.
Yeah, it's like limited resources increases your creativity and
Absolutely.
also teaches you a lot of lessons because of
Yes,
the
the
experiences.
failures, the successes, and all that. So you really check other people who have very successful, and often they fail, and they said, "Oh, how did that happen?" Then it conscientizes you as well. You become very conscious about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you are one of the most celebrated, one of the most pioneers when it comes to South Africa.
Am I?
Yeah, you are.
Thank you for the compliment. According to Jerry, yes, definitely.
Yeah, according to Jerry and other people, because
Right.
you are one of the pioneers when it comes to South African, especially menswear.
Yes.
As a designer,
Yes.
can you take me through your career trajectory and your for Ephraim?
Yes. Well, when I started, I was a model, like you said, and then I've been intrigued by it. You know, there was nothing much for South African men locally, even abroad. You know what I mean? It's only now actually men are being looked after. You know, so over the years, when I was a model, you know, I'll travel abroad and come back, and I find it's empty. I was like, oh, they don't have fascinating things like I saw in London. They don't have this like I saw in China. They don't have this like I saw in Brussels or wherever, New York, wherever I've been. And I come back home and say, oh my God, every clothes are down in the mall, in the shopping center or whatever, before they had these amazing malls, before they even have all the influx of international brands. You know what I mean? So that's when I started to say, this is interesting. You know what I mean? And then it triggered me. And even from when I was at high school, before I even became a model, I always dress differently. I always want to be spunky. And I couldn't. You know what I mean? I grew up in an era whereby I was influenced by the pop lifestyle. You know, we grew up with the pop. We were looking at the looks of the likes of your Madonnas, your all pop idols of the 80s and all that. And we're very fortunate in South Africa because these things somehow they managed to come in, you know what I mean, and then compared to the rest of the continent, so we were a little bit ahead. And and my traveling as a model now started even open my eyes even more. And fortunately, I even have cousins who are like living in Germany, doing the place there, and they'll send me some amazing pieces of clothing, and then it started getting into me. But naturally, I've been like a person who likes clothes, who always dress different, who always like dressing something unique and all that. And I remember early in my career, when I started early 2000, because when I stopped modeling, I was like, I'm done with modeling. I'm just going to work in the advertising agency, because that's what I studied, advertising at AAA. Now it's called Vega. I was like, I'm just going to be one of the boring advertising people. That's where I'm going to go. So I told Lucilla Boysen and Dion Chang at that time, I said, guys, it's my last days at Fashion Week. I've modeled, I've done everything. You know, I didn't have any interest of modeling anymore. I was like, I'm done. And I don't want to be one of these old models which is going to be running the runway all the time, going to the castings all the time. And they were like, Ephraim, you're not going anywhere. Actually, it's the beginning of your career. I was like, so I said, get a tailor, make a collection, next year you're showcasing. I was like, what? Just like that. And yes, and then I remember I sat down with Philip. I said, I've been given a challenge. Lucilla, they want me to showcase actually in less than a year. And then I remember I sat down and I said, I'm going to do Pink Panther. I just love Pink Panther, how they dress. And then the pink color, for some reason, it just came into my head. And then I did the first colors were black and pink. And then I think I was one of the first guys who did the Ndebele print, not Ndebele, the vendor print. I did those suits, the vendor suits and all that. So it was really amazing, and it was very colorful. And I never shied from color, I never shied from prints. I love the print on prints. So I've been, initially when I started, I love all the prints. So my question was about print, boldness, because for me Africa is all bold. You know, because like I said, when I travel abroad and everywhere, I see how Africans. I used to meet Nigerians overseas before they even come, mostly in our country. You know, how they dress. You know, the French guys from Congo, and then just Congo, then you know. And it's just fascinating. I said, I love this. And I used to look at the Vogues and all, how it's being styled. You know, it was about exotic colors and depict how the African look is all about. And I grew up in Africa. I grew up in Soweto, and we had multicultural dynamics in Soweto. And then it was just in the blood. It just was in the blood. And then I never stop. I've just keep on introducing the new trends, the flowers. You know, I think I was one of the guys who started doing the flowers on men's, introducing the flowers, patterns, this on jackets and all. So I've been pushing the boundaries. You know what I mean? Still with the classic, and I know that it was a challenge because the back of my mind, remember from advertising and all that, I always say, South African men, you need to build them. They are very stubborn in allowing themselves to get some new trends, some new things. So you introduce them subliminally. You know, I introduce them subliminally. I mean, look at them now. Everyone wears flowers. Everyone wears pinks. Everyone wears all bright. And then, thanks God, I was one of the first people.
Yeah. It might all sound so colorful and like it's all over the place, but the thing with Ephraim is that it always like the finest tailoring. Yeah. It's always the most beautiful fabrics in the most boldest prints, but the tailoring, it's one of the best things that you have perfected.
Yes, I strongly believe in proper tailoring. Even the finish, I'm a sucker of the amazing finishing, clean lines, classic, but yet with the edge. You know what I mean? I always say, I was born in the 50s. You know, I grew up in the 50s.
Really?
I grew up in the 50s, the 40s, 50s, but I live in the 20s, in the 21st century. You know, so it's a mixture of all that. And I mean, I see some of my collections, people have said, but if Philippe can wear it, it look different. But they said, but it was on the runway. People said, but we never saw it. You know what I mean? Because maybe how I style it, it might look a bit masculine, but whenever I create something, I always create something that I know individual people will find themselves within all that range.
I mean, Mendoza was one of your biggest muses.
Mendoza, yeah. You know what I mean? The kind of Lev Matosas, they'll wear my style for me. There's a lot of people who have been in there, you know what I mean? And I'm glad that you picked up that the one of my strengths is actually tailoring. I love it, even if it's just a normal sports luxe, but the tailoring effect of it, because it's all about luxurious. Even it can be the cheapest fabric, but it look amazing, and because of the finish and the tailoring of it.
Yeah, well, there was a silly rumor that last season was your last show, and I'm glad that it wasn't, and you're going back autumn winter 2020. So Is there a big theme or idea that you're presenting under?
Look, just like each and everything individual personality, I think I was kidding. I thought, but then I realized, you know what? I mustn't say anything with my tongue because it actually becomes reality. It nearly didn't happen for me to showcase this year. I went through a lot, emotional and physically, and I nearly went into depression. It wasn't even about money. It was a challenge of my mother got sick, she's a pillar of my life, and I had a very tough time of my life this year. I'm not gonna lie to you. I have to say it. Okay, I'm gonna say it. One of my closest person, my partner, we separated, and it really affected me. 9 years of my life, and it was not easy.
9 years you were together?
Yeah, and it was never easy. It's still not easy, and it really tormented me to the level whereby I lost everything. I lost the vision of what I want, because we're building everything, we're playing together. So many, we're a big one family. My partner's family, my family knew everything and everybody. So it really hit me, and then it hit me at a time when I had to start working on my collections and all that. And I sat down with the creative directors from SA Fashion Week and told them, I said, listen, I might not showcase because of these factors. My mother was in the hospital in and out for 2 months, and so everything just took so much from me. The energy, everything, because now I had to focus on rebuilding my mom's life. She was on 5 seconds to bed, to die. Building that. Yes, it takes your emotions, apart from taking financial expenses, because we had to take to the most expensive doctors and all that. It takes so much from your energy, and then I felt like I was not in a good space at all. And so same Lucilla called me, calm me down, build me up. Friends build me up. They said, you know what, you can do it. I said, I don't have money to make a collection. They said, restyle. You got amazing pieces everywhere. You gotta make and then I said, and when little 5 cents just come, and I started, and this is just 2 weeks ago I started making garments, and with one tailor because my other tailor went home, who I specialize. I've got a very small team because they understand my thread and I just describe things to them and they do it to the T. You can have a big team, but they may not have the same mindset as you. So the smaller team, the better for me. You know what I mean? So I sat down with my team, 3 of them. I said, guys, this is what we're gonna do. We got limited resources, but let's make it absolutely beautiful. I'll come from a very dark space, but I'm not gonna make a dark collection because it's gonna suppress me. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be ephemeral, that new elements, maybe new twists here and there, but classics. So I pick up on all different pieces that I've done and restyle them and redo them and then repackage it. And then and if someone haven't seen, they didn't know Ephraim for 10 years, they'll know Ephraim 10 years did this. You know what I mean? Because the new kids on the block, they don't even know who's Ephraim most probably.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now they know the name, but they don't know. They cannot put the name and the brand and this and the garments. It's going. They said, "Oh, that guy. Yeah, Ephraim." I mean, people will point me and say, "So yeah, Ephraim." I said, "Yeah," So yeah.
But it's very interesting because it is in a way a retrospective of your work. You looking back. You're going to your archive.
Yes.
You're looking at your new patterns.
Yes.
And you bring just a new twist to it, which is also great because it goes to show that you have a legacy. That you have like an archive of things that you can work from.
Yes.
And then yes, you might add a new item or you can restyle and a previous season item in a different way. And then we are in the age of sustainability.
Absolutely, and going green.
What's more sustainable than reusing, repurposing, restyling, as opposed to producing more?
Exactly. I'm an advocate of going green. I'm an advocate of global environmental awareness. You know what I mean? So I know the more I utilize fabrics and all that, the more I add impact as well on global
carbon emission.
Carbon emission, whatever's happening
whatever.
now. So I'm very conscious. I'm very, very conscious. I'll rather, people said, we have seen this fabric before, but I'll repack it and redesign it. And I mean, even look at the big brands that are doing that and now. So everyone is really conscious. So and I urge other designers to do that as well. You know what I mean? It's funny because the youngsters even today they flock to the second-hand shop and they call it vintage. You know what I mean?
It's more of a resale than a vintage.
You know. So yeah, and for me, really, it's about being aware of your surrounding, being aware of everything, and then yes, fashion is moving forward, but I wouldn't want to be in fashion forward that much because I think the quicker we go, will end up being like what China has done. China's polluted what's supposed to be beautiful piece of dressing, which is fashion.
Yeah, fast fashion is
polluting and it's killing the industries. It's killing people. It's killing people imagining how they should look themselves. I mean, before I dress, I still have that thing. I got to look this way. You know, you picture yourself. But now, fast fashion, they just grab whatever and they put it. I mean, look at this. The trend I hate, women, sorry ladies, you just can't keep on doing the same thing, wearing cycling shorts with a short dress and the cycling short is showing. Who came with that trend? What happened to the classic beautiful women that
they
you look at them?
that to Princess Diana.
You know what I mean? That you look and said, wow. I mean, some female women I walk the street, I see them, I give them comments and oh, you look amazing, you look so classic, the stilettos, the blouses, the skirts. You know, beautiful elegancy. What happened to that? Now you find some top that is falling this side. That's honestly, fast fashion must just die.
Needs to go away.
Needs to go away now.
I mean, it's interesting because you are one of those people who have always been the original influencer. As a model, you are one of the first black male models to front a campaign for Diesel.
For Diesel campaign worldwide,
yes.
Which won 2 Ken Awards. And it was meant for only French-speaking countries. And I shot it with this guy. He was from he was a staff then of the rugby, the English team, the rugby team from England. So he was one of the stars, and some other twin girl. She was a model from Pretoria. I don't know what happened to her. And I remember I just came back from Istanbul, Turkey. So my hair was, I had a huge afro like Jimi Hendrix. Because in Turkey I couldn't find a barber to cut my hair. And that's when I started growing my hair white. And I was a little skinny than I am. And I went to the casting. I remember I walked in and I could hear the French guy, I didn't know French at that time. And they pointed at me and said, yes, you. Please come. I said, they touch my hair, is this real? I said, yes. I said, maybe I had a wig on. I said, okay, please don't touch your hair anymore. Don't cut it. I said, okay. And then they said, can you speak French? I said, no. But then a friend of mine, Chris Bongo, who was a model from Congo, he's now a soccer analyst. He just arrived, he was studying at Vets and he speaks French, early 90s. And I said, Chris, they gave me a script. Can you just teach me how to say bonjour? And they said, and then it was a song, the French song. He said, oh. Then he started writing in a phonetic that I can understand. And I started singing that. Got my job. And that's how I got my campaign. And then I remember my agent got called. Somebody said she was one of the TV presenters on SABC3 that time. Some lady, blonde, I can't remember her name. She was from Australia. And she called Carl. I said, Carl, my agent. I said, if he here. He said, what? On TV? What do you, I mean, commercial? Yes. No, it's not supposed to be in Australia. And someone else called us in the US. Then we realized, oh, it's worldwide, you know. So that's how it
Did you
happens.
get your worldwide paycheck?
Let's say, you know, they robbed me a little bit, but we fought for it.
I mean, what's fashion with that little scandal?
Yes, you know.
Yeah. Ify, what do you know now that you didn't know then that you wish somebody told you when you were starting off?
What I know now is that, well, originally, I'm somebody who likes finding and trying to find things that even things that I don't know. I taught myself how to do a lot of things. I didn't go to fashion school. I'll sit down and create things in my head and sit down with my tailor. I said, do a collar like this, do that. He said, how that's going to happen? I said, I don't know. Let's just do it. You know what I mean? And we won't even cut a colico or whatever. We'll do it on expensive fabric. I said, guys, it's expensive, so we have to do it and get it right. And so, but what I didn't know that I know now, it's like I think retailing. I never thought I'll ever get into retailing, and thanks to a friend of mine, Tula Cindy, that he started introducing these things to me, and he's got a lot of finesse of things that I'm rough. I've got rough edges, and it's got more polished edges, And when he came to my life, and then I've got my own strengths, he's got his own strengths, and then we put them together. And then I realized there's quite a few things that I don't know, but I wanted to know, or maybe I knew them, I was scared to attend them, because I'm a very cautious person as well. You know what I mean? I won't take my last 10,000 and go and buy fabrics. I'd rather take 2,000 and then leave 8,000, because I would say I don't know what's going to happen for the future, for tomorrow. And thank God that has taught me a lot in terms of, look what's happening globally now. We're in a financial crunch. People are not spending money on clothing as they used to do. So imagine if I spend all my little 5 cents. You know what I mean? I won't be able to, my last in the studio and you interview me.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you mentioned Tula Cindy, who is another great South African designer, and who happened to be a little bit younger than you.
Yeah.
That you actually learned from him, and there's some life and business lessons that you guys share together, and you have allowed and opened yourself as an elderly person to learn from a younger person, and you are opening a retail pop-up store now.
Yes, with him.
City, with another collective of designers.
Absolutely. And when we always, whenever we travel to Tula, we always bounce ideas and said, friend, I want to see us having this big. So we wanted to open here at our studio before, downstairs, just 3 designers first, and then they were giving us a hassle with the space. And then when this opportunity arrives for him, and because he's such a pioneer person, he's got such a great vision, you know what I mean? He was like, friend, I think it's gonna be happening. I told Santon Mall we don't have money, but we've got these ideas, and they ran with it. And they said they like it, we're gonna run with it. You know what I mean? Like I said, he just started pulling everybody. You know what I mean? Because we have to build ourselves as South African designers first and foremost. This thing of pulling somebody else and we're not like that. So it says, you know what? Let's put a list and think of all people that first we get all the designers that we know that they can work together, close together, and then other people will come in. But he invited almost every designer locally, and then just put everybody in, and then it's happening, and it's a bit tight in terms of timing, because the time that he proposed, it was really around November, but Santon was like, please now, we need this now, and then everything just like shifted 3-4 weeks ahead before the actual timing, so everything was just rushed. But it's gonna be amazing. It's looking amazing. It's gonna be a beautiful concept. It's the first time on its own, unlike we've seen other concepts like that, but this is more, it's got a niche market. It's more of a niche market. It's more refined, but not cluttered like what we've seen on other shops. Very minimal. It's
more targeted, it's more niche, and it's by designer for designer.
For designer, yeah, and very minimized. Yes, and very minimized as well. Yeah.
And then, why do you think it had taken you so long to get into retail space? What did you enjoy more about custom and studio space?
I think that's one of my because of my personality. I think for me, one-on-one, it works for me better, because I learn a lot about a lot of clients. They come to me, and I'll end up having friends who are my clients, become my friends, and then the circle grow bigger, and then they start getting other people and bring them in, the word of mouth, and that's how I grew up my business, you know what I mean? And then for me, it's always intriguing to listen to what people want, and from regardless of what I'm going to give, you know what I mean? I said, I'm going to do this and this and this for you. Tell me what you want. So for me, it's enhance what the clients want, and I said, but that's not going to work for you. And then, unlike when you just create a lot of things and said, they'll see themselves, whoever wants it, they'll find it, they don't. So here it's very like, it's emotional attachment, you know what I mean? And then it's like, whatever I'm doing, I'm touching you. It's like I'm touching your skin, or whatever I do, one-on-one comment, because that garment I'm making is clearly for you. and then we put soul into it. It's not just a garment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some are just garments. Like you can go to small city, you can just buy a garment. You know what I mean? But if it's been sit down and be rethought and been done for you, even the client feels great about it and said, "Wow, this is." It's like they're proud of that. They feel they've got that pride that it's been done, especially for them, and it's good. Well, the money is good as well, because it's custom made, and you don't lose that touch of finishing. You know what I mean? Because now when you go to retailing, sometimes not everybody wears slim shirt is tailored according to your body. You'll do it on just a normal slim, but it won't be as slim as it will touch you how you want to touch you. The length of the shirt, maybe Jerry wants his length up to the knee, but when you do it for the retailing, it might be it had to be between the knee and the thigh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it loses that 5%. You know what I mean, of originality.
Yeah, and I asked that question not that there's anything wrong with,
yes,
you know what I mean? It's just like sometimes bespoke atelier one-on-one business model niche as you can cater to 3 people, and as long as you're profitable and you're happy and the business is running, then stick to that.
Yes.
We're all not meant to be retail
yes,
and property in every corner of the thing.
Yes, I've done retailing, I've done at Woolworths, I've done Edgar's, you know what I mean, as well. Yes, it's a good, for me, it's good vehicle for marketing.
Yeah.
If I may say it. You know what I mean? It will always keep the brand in people's mind. This Ephraim. But I still love the space of sitting down one-on-one.
Yeah.
I think it's like when you do interview one-on-one. You can have a studio audience, but when you sit down and say, I sit one-on-one, it's got that more effect. You know what I mean? So that's how I look. I always comparing all these things, and I said, "Oh yeah."
No, there's there's synergy and there's a cross pollination with everything in life. Cultural radar. What is moving the needle right now?
Interesting question. Look, first of all, I don't follow trends. What do you just say? What moves the needle for me?
Yeah, and right now in culture and music and life and how people live, is there any difference?
I think people they're losing themselves. Because they want to be everyone. People want to be influencers. People want to be this. You'll find somebody 3 in 1. I call them 3 in 1. You know what I mean? Or 5 in 1. You know, then they forget who they are. You know what I mean? I once, people were, I think, they were trying to give me a flag, and but they realized that actually I'm the one supposed to give them a flag, because I said. Not long ago, there was a trend of Nigerians, the Dukes. It became big in South Africa because Molingoane Township, all of a sudden the Abu Mama in the township, they think it's a big new trend. I said, no, you're losing your culture to Nigerians. Stick to your culture and embrace it. And you can still do a shweshwe and you just do it with a shweshwe. But now you want Nigerian fabrics. So people, when they look at you, they don't look at South African now, they look at Nigerian. You know what I mean? So people start
not that there's anything
wrong in Nigerian, but to lose your own sphere, you know what I mean? Embrace you, and then the world will embrace you even better. Look at what happened. I always talk about my South African designs, Makhosa. You know what I mean? Yes, Misoni did the elements of that, but immediately he started bringing it and said, actually my closer people have been doing this, but in the quiet. Nobody, and he brought that out, and then boom, Makhosa happened worldwide. Papama, simple tea.
Africa, time is now.
Simple that, just a tea, speed her up. You know, so people are always eager to find something that is it culture, and then for me, culture is not about I have to be to use culture. I always call it cultural ornaments, references, motifs. You know what I mean? Culture is within you. It's how you interpret it out. You know what I mean? And then my culture, I love the 50th Sophia town. It's culture. The Pansula is a culture. Pansula is culture. Pansula. You know, it was never. There was never Pansula as a tribal Pansula. It's a culture culmination of the subculture lifestyle. You know what I mean? So I'm more lifestyle cultural.
Actually, that's an Ephraim man.
Yes,
he's a very Pansula.
Yes, Pansula mix of Sophia. Yes, I mix the Ivies. So you see all those. I mix all those because I think that's exactly what makes South Africa. What South Africans was mixed with different subcultures. We got our cultures and subcultures, you know what I mean? And we never entertained our subcultures, but it's a big movement, you know? So I urge the youngsters to actually look back in those, and then we can't kill Kwaito culture. Now, of course, now hip hop all of a sudden is big and all that. Come on. Pantsula is a Pantsula for life. You know, it's a culture that we created, you know, and you cannot find Pantsula anywhere in the world except in Zanzibar. You cannot find Sophia Retro, Sophia Town, except Sophia Town is the Sophia Town. It's the language, you know what I mean? Mixing of the languages and societal and all. Where in the world you can never accept in our own country. So we need to start loving ourselves more and exploring that, and so much. Do we have to wait to have a big international thing to come and say, oh, I want to do this, and they said all of a sudden Wakanda is happening? No, Wakanda has been long there.
It's been here.
It's been here forever. You know, the blankets, how many times we've got in the blankets? Hello? Now because it's in Wakanda, it's fashionable. Come on, Jerry.
We're living on that note. Pantsula for life.
Pantsula for life.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, my dear.